Welcome back to the podcast. I'm David, and today, with our insightful co-host Sarah, we're exploring a fundamental pillar of English language acquisition, the power of reading. Sarah, many learners focus heavily on speaking and listening. Why is reading more than just a supplementary activity in English learning?
Reading is absolutely crucial, David. It's often underestimated as a passive skill, but in reality, it's a highly active process that engages multiple cognitive functions. Unlike spoken conversation, where information is fleeting, written text allows learners to process at their own pace. It provides a stable, consistent input that reinforces vocabulary, grammar, and sentence structures in a way that listening alone cannot.
So it's a more controlled environment for learning. What are some of the immediate, tangible benefits of reading for an English language learner?
The benefits are extensive. Firstly, vocabulary expansion is immense. When you read, you encounter words in meaningful context, which is far more effective for retention than memorizing lists. You see how words are actually used. Secondly, it significantly improves your grammar and sentence structure by exposing you to correct, natural English patterns repeatedly. You start to internalize these rules without conscious effort.
So learning words and grammar organically. What about reading comprehension itself?
Absolutely. Regular reading enhances your reading comprehension skills. You learn to infer meaning from context, identify main ideas, and understand complex arguments. This critical thinking ability transfers to listening and overall language understanding. And it directly improves your writing skills because you're constantly exposed to good writing. You pick up on effective phrasing, varied sentence structures, and appropriate tone.
Reading as a foundation for writing. Beyond the direct language benefits, how does reading impact a learner's broader understanding?
It opens a window to cultural understanding. Reading authentic English texts, whether it's literature, news, or blogs, exposes you to the nuances of English-speaking cultures, idioms, social norms, and historical contexts. This deepens your appreciation for the language and its speakers. For our listeners in Benimalal, for example, reading can connect them to cultural perspectives from across the English-speaking world, from London to New York, or even Sydney.
That's a fantastic point, connecting language to culture. What about pronunciation, even though reading is silent?
While reading is primarily visual, it indirectly helps pronunciation. When you encounter a word frequently in text, you build a stronger mental representation of it. This can aid in recalling the correct pronunciation when you later hear or attempt to speak the word. It strengthens the link between the written form, the meaning, and eventually, the sound.
So it reinforces the overall linguistic network. What about motivation and enjoyment?
Reading can be incredibly motivating and enjoyable. When you find material that genuinely interests you, learning stops feeling like a chore. Whether it's fiction, nonfiction, articles about your hobbies, or even comics, finding pleasure in reading keeps you engaged and consistent. This intrinsic motivation is a powerful driver for long-term language learning success.
Enjoyment fuels consistency. And what about building confidence?
Every time you successfully understand a piece of English text, no matter how simple, it builds your confidence. Seeing your progress, expanding your vocabulary, and grasping complex ideas boosts your self-efficacy and encourages you to tackle more challenging material. This positive feedback loop is vital for sustained language learning.
Confidence is a huge motivator. Now, let's get practical. For English learners, how do they choose the right reading material?
Choose materials at your level primarily. Start with graded readers specifically designed for English learners. Once comfortable, move to authentic texts that align with your interests. If you enjoy cooking, read English recipes. If you like sports, read sports news. The I+1 principle is useful. Choose material that is slightly above your current level, challenging but not overwhelming.
Choosing the right level and topic makes a difference. What about active reading techniques?
Active reading techniques enhance comprehension. Don't just skim. Try skimming for main ideas, then scanning for specific information. Annotate by highlighting key phrases, writing notes in the margins, and summarizing paragraphs in your own words. This interaction with the text forces deeper processing.
Active engagement with the text. How should learners handle unknown words without getting bogged down?
Use context clues first. Try to guess the meaning of an unknown word from the surrounding sentences. Only if you can't infer the meaning, use a dictionary. But avoid looking up every single word. Too many interruptions can break your flow. Focus on understanding the general meaning of the sentence or paragraph rather than precise definitions for every word.
Prioritizing context over constant dictionary use. How important is consistency?
Consistency is paramount. A little reading every day is far more effective than long, infrequent sessions. Aim for 15 to 30 minutes daily. Make it a habit. Find a time and place where you can focus without distractions. Even small, consistent efforts compound over time into significant improvement.
Consistency, as always, is key. What are some varied resources our listeners can explore for English reading?
The options are endless. Start with online articles and news sites like BBC Learning English or VOA Learning English, which are often adapted for learners. Explore fiction and nonfiction books that genuinely interest you, starting with simpler genres. Don't forget graphic novels, short stories, blogs, and even song lyrics. Anything that exposes you to English in a way that you enjoy.
A wide range of resources to keep it engaging. Any final thoughts on the importance of reading for English language learners?
Reading is your gateway to becoming a truly proficient English speaker. It's where you build the deep, intuitive understanding of how the language works beyond just memorized rules. It expands your world, enhances your communication, and cultivates a lasting love for the English language. Embrace reading, and you'll unlock unparalleled progress in your English learning journey.
Sarah, this has been an incredibly comprehensive overview of why reading is so vital for learning English. Thank you for these valuable insights and strategies. To our listeners, we encourage you to make reading a cornerstone of your English study. Find what you love to read, do it consistently, and watch your English skills flourish. That's all for this episode. I'm David, and that was Sarah.
Happy reading, everyone. See you next time.